welcome to the fourth episode of Game of Growth. Now, before we start, I want to share a small story here. Every time I had to do the interstate travel, I preferred online booking from apps like Redbus and others. I used to look for a coupon to get discounts and offers on the bookings. That was the point I got familiar with Grabon. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Tina Verma from Truepush, and today I'm joined by Ashok Reddy, founder of Grabon, India's leading affiliate e-commerce platforms for deals, coupons, and gift cards. How are you doing, Ashok?
I'm doing good, Tina. How are you? Thanks for the intro.
You're welcome. I'm doing great. So, Ashok, what was the idea behind starting Grabon? How was your journey from initiating the idea for the platform to building a fully functional company from scratch, and that too without any seed fundings?
Yeah, I think it was 2013. We were building a B2B e-commerce platform, and that was a very robust platform, uh, uh, a SaaS platform, and it had a roadmap of about 12 to 14 months. And then during that period, we wanted to start a B2C startup in India, right? And we started looking out for like different areas. One area, I mean, couple of ideas came through our existing staff itself. So we started pursuing something in the fashion tech with a lot of personalization, which is very close to fab.com. And we called it as like Fashionify. And that time we spent a lot of time initially on that product, and it was all AI, machine learning, right, stuff like that. Something that I wanted to do very close to my heart on disrupting the fashion space. And we were not able to like pull the team together, and it required a lot of different wide variety of resources outside of technology, so we couldn't. And the second product idea that was listed from the team was in the coupons and deals space. And we did the research. We saw a void where like no particular brand had its presence. And I was coming off of US, where I've seen three companies, public listed, multi-billion-dollar companies in this space. And then I felt that even though it was not technologically challenging, I thought like I would pursue that. And there comes Grabon. We've created a brand, and like since then we've been like doing this.
That's great. In fact, I came to know that you had the technical expertise, but as the product was in the building phase, then you realized that it required the marketing development side as well, and you were ready to take it on.
Correct. Yeah.
So I'm curious to know from your perspective that is India really a cashback or coupon obsessed nation?
I would say yes. India has generally been deal-centric consumer story, right? I don't know if you can recollect an ad. There is an ad where you see an yacht, right? And
Yeah,
in the end, he asks, "Kitna deti hai?" Meaning mileage, right?
yeah, correct.
So that says the consumer mindset. Even for folks purchasing the luxury items, India has always been that side of story where deals and savings has been the center point. Um, I I think that is how it is still. Um, Whereas I still think that it needs to be picked up in the tier 2 and tier 3 cities. But overall, the deal centric consumer is here to stay in India.
Right. I would agree with you. Now let us consider the Indian market. So,
Yeah.
how much do Grabon and other similar platforms contribute to the growth of the e-commerce industry?
I mean, I would say coming from grab on in performance marketing side, I would always say that we contribute a lot. But in general, we contribute a lot to tier two, tier three merchants compared to the tier one merchants. But the performance marketing as a space has been growing, and the marketing heads are realizing what publishers like us can do to their brands and sales. We have some great success stories for merchants like Mintra, Jabong, MedLife, Pharmacy, Swiggy, Zomato, Zoomcar, Rev, Nika, and many more merchants that fall into the tier two category. And we worked like with them closely, and I was even told by some of their like CMOs that our ROI on the spend that they were doing was giving a lot of returns compared to a lot of traditional marketing. So, uh, in general, we have contributed a lot. I mean, us as a company, and then a lot of other performance marketing companies out there. But it is more to do with the tier two and three merchants, according to me.
Mhm. Right. As you know, this is the extraordinary time because of the COVID-19. So many industries are getting affected because of that. Workflow has stopped, and so what are the effects of COVID-19 on the industry like yours, and how are you able to pivot quickly into the transition to make sure that the impact is as minimum as possible?
I mean, frankly, our business has been impacted the most,
Hmm.
um, with literally no travel and e-commerce, everything getting stalled. We had about 95% dip in revenues. But we're seeing signs of picking up, right? Like now that the e-commerce has opened up, right? We're
Hmm.
slowly but surely coming in there, not to the previous levels, but we expect it to reach to the highest number for at least 2020 by the Diwali time, which is usually the shopping time. Uh,
Right.
I mean, for us, luckily, we were building a SaaS marketing intelligence tool for our merchants. Like just before COVID, we started off on this project. So majority of our focus has been there. There is no pivot that we've done, but like we've been like focusing a lot on this, right?
Yeah.
and and like just on a positive note, while the traditional e-commerce travel has been stalled, we had very small verticals out there that was not spending a lot on performance marketing, verticals like OTT, online gaming, online education. So these verticals have seen tremendous growth, and I believe that it'll continue to remain like that going forward. More digital transactions will happen. I mean, this is probably one of those phases again after demonetization that a lot more digital transactions are going to happen. I was just like reading through a article where US online shopping has jumped 100% from 13% on an average to 27% from last year, and it took about 5 years for them to like get there, and then this kind of a jump in just like 2 months. I think India's story is going to be no different than US. So I mean, there are some positive news. I mean, this is something that we did not expect. The revenues are down. That's the reality. But luckily for us, we've been working on a new product, and so that's going to continue like generating new revenue sources for us. And I think the business is going to pick up by Diwali.
That's great. In fact, times like these, of course, there are many downfalls because of that. But the space has also given tremendous opportunity for digital presence for a product to lead it in a different way. I'm sure everyone would try to find out different ways to work out for to tackle situations like this.
Yeah.
So, Ashok, apart from other coupon websites, who are your competitors, and how do you plan your strategic growth in order to maintain your ranking?
Um, I mean, we've been consistently on the top as the number one player in this space for the last 4 years. While we stayed there on the leadership position, we've also like forayed into multiple other areas like gift cards. Then I've just spoken about a marketing intelligence SaaS tool. So we will diversify ourselves as a techno marketing company that can get the brands, merchants, additional traffic and revenue on the performance marketing side. And in order to do that, we will be building all or any tools that will help some of these brands gain more traffic and revenues, right? So that has been our focus. Coupon was like just a beginning for us. What we're trying to do in the last few years has been anything that we can do for the merchants and brands in order to increase their traffic and revenues.
So we came to know that Grabon also introduced an application for for mobile push notifications,
Correct.
which was Buzz in 2015.
Correct.
What tools have you been using to engage your website visitors as well?
I mean, so like for us, our website is the most engaged channel, right? Now, outside of the website itself, there are a lot of other channels like social blogs. We use notification tools, email as a channel, mobile app as a channel. Here, that we built Buzz in 2015, but now we've moved to Truepush because I mean we stopped innovating on that tool because that was not our core,
Right.
right? And then there are a lot of companies that are only doing that, and why not give them the opportunity to serve in that space? And Truepush is actually doing the same thing. So, and then we have a lot of other partnerships where we play as a loyalty player. So you take a entertainment company or a banking company, you would see a lot of coupons on their platform where they would be shared with their users. So we kind of like use all these channels as our engagement means. Um, because of the growing market, right? Like we see a lot of users, but more than about 53% of our users are repeat customers, right? And I think using some of these channels repeatedly and staying in touch with those customers tells them that we're there and we've been like doing a lot in this space, and that is where we're able to like attract those repeat customers.
That's great. In fact, through website itself, you have got 3.5 million plus subscriptions, and from the app itself, it's more than 500K downloads.
Yeah.
And so to engage, to build the customer base, and then to engage them, and then to again re-engage them is one of the important parameter for to continue re-engaging the customer base. Grabon has been able to save rupees 4.5 billion till now, as the website says it. So,
Yep.
do you have any specific target in your plans, considering the amount saved, or any milestones in your roadmap?
Um, I mean, there is no specific target as such. We've always had two value propositions to serve when we started Grabon, right? So the first one was to get the users best deals possible out there, so they can have the maximum savings, and for merchants bring as many new customers as possible and make them do repeated purchases. So these were two value propositions that we've always like believed on. and that has been our goal. So one side of the story is like save a lot of rupees for the users themselves, while the other side of the story is also that we've given a lot of transactions, probably close to more than about 2.3 billion USD has been transacted in the last 1 year alone. So that is the kind of magnitude that we tend to do on both sides of the story.
That's quite significant. So, would we be seeing Grab on expanding its presence apart from the coupons and deals? Any other plans in the savings space?
Like I've mentioned, we will get into all the spaces that will help users save more and merchants make more revenue. Now, how are we doing that? So we've started building price comparison engines, right? And then we now have gift cards that is at a discounted price. But we are also building a intelligence tool that will help the merchants get more search traffic, thereby getting more revenue. So these are areas. Though, so the core remains the same. That we would probably focus on the users to get them more savings, and then the merchants like get them more revenue and traffic.
Great. Ashok, I would like to know your thoughts. So you being a founder of one of the leading product of India, what are your thoughts on the customer engagement and the growth of a company? How it goes hand in hand?
Oh, I think that is that is the only key that you, irrespective of like what startup that you have, if you're not engaged with your customer, then you don't have a business per se, right? According to me. So there is no doubt. If you have seen, there are a lot of new categories that have emerged in the last like 5 6 years. Very recently, just on the customer engagement platforms, right? Customer success platforms. So there are no more verticals that will be created just on this space alone, and that is a huge space to be in.
Great. So, moving ahead, any parting thoughts or suggestions you would like to give to entrepreneurs and the founders and learners out there? You know, who are trying to create a difference in the society as a whole.
I mean, if if someone would be hearing this podcast, I think that they've made up their mind to jump into entrepreneurship. That's the biggest step, according to me, to believe in themselves. Now that they have done that, all at least I would say is to have both hunger and humility. Hunger to make your business successful, right? Minute details, uh, perse- perseverance of like day in and day out, like digging out through the challenges, and always have that hunger to be like right up there in the top, and humility to accept your strengths and weaknesses, and continue to play the game right. We always want this game to be played in the right spirit, so humility gives you that ability to like stay grounded.
Amazing, amazing, Ashok. Thank you so much for this amazing podcast and useful insights on e-commerce space. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Ashok Reddy, founder of Grabon.